Hey, welcome everyone. Again, I'd like to say welcome to everyone on this Thursday Free Mart call. Wow, we have a large bunch here tonight, and so I'd like to say a big thank you for taking the time to dial in. It's very exciting to see more and more people on these calls. I'm Barb Sigler, and I'm an ambassador member, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you. As a lot of us have heard on earlier calls, Free Mart is on the move. There seems to be a lot of great things happening lately, and it's exciting to see what the future holds with Free Mart. We've sure been hearing lots of amazing product testimonials every single day, and positive, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Some of my Free Mart friends are getting some incredible health benefits drinking the Free Mart Happy Water and also using the other products, so it's great to hear all of your stories. Tonight we have John Austin, founder and CEO of Free Mart, and Brad Hill, our product specialist. Brad and John have a combined total of over 80-plus years experience in the industry. And we also have a very special guest on the line tonight with John and Brad, and they'll be introducing her in a few minutes. So without further delay, I'm going to turn it back over to you, John and Brad, so we can get started.
All right, okay, well, John, you there live?
I am, and thank you, Barb. Appreciate you taking introductions and being here for us, every Thursday. So, what a great group we have on the call tonight. Occasionally we get to just sit back and listen and learn. And I got to meet Dr. Crafton here some time ago when I went out and to meet with Brad, and we just sat at her feet and just learned so much. I tell you what, this woman has a wealth of information and knowledge that she's going to share with us tonight, I'm sure. So I'm just going to sit back and listen, Brad, and I'm going to learn.
All right, and we talk so much. We talked about this earlier. We talk so much. Once in a while, we're just speechless. I know that's hard to believe, but sometimes we are just speechless. We went down to Alabama, like you said, and we got to meet our guests, down there, hands-on, really being trained and listening and learning and saw a lot of things in her practice down there in Alabama that was just so unique and fascinating. And you know what, we found over time that, all of us were kind of cut from a similar cloth in the industry of nutrition. Dr. Catherine, she has actually been in this industry of nutrition between 26 and 30 years, in that range. She's one of 241 distinguished folks in the world that does a specialty type of a chiropractic. It's an advanced treatment. It's called Atlas Orthogonal, I think. I think I said that right. But but anyway, the title really speaks a lot, and we learned when we were down there some of the procedures that she does on a daily basis to get people, set their bodies and their structures and so forth. And she helps them in so many ways and on different levels. And tonight we're going to talk about a specialty item, and I want to give her the floor. Dr. Catherine, are you there?
I am here. Nice
All
to
right,
talk
great.
to you, Brad.
Yeah,
hi, John.
Yeah, it's a great.
Hi, Catherine.
It's great to have you. And we've got this product. We're going to be bringing out here, and it should be here in a week, probably by Wednesday, I guess. We should be ready to be shipping this product like crazy. We're very excited to have it. I've experienced it, and you're going to talk about a little bit of that product experience with some of your clients as well. So just take the floor if you would.
Okay. Well, a little bit about my philosophy, because I think it helps to know the person better if you understand a little bit of how their thinking came about. And when I first began in the nutrition field, I think I did it as a lot of people do when they start having children and they realize that things affect their children. How do they take better care of their children? And so I started like that, and I just fell in love with the nutrition and how the body works. One of the things that we're not really taught in school is how to take care of our bodies, how they really work, so we understand it because it's with us for life. So it was important to me that my children got the best start. So I really began there, and then I went into nutrition full-time and did all my study, and I found that it was very, very, very important, everything that I read, that we stay with things that are from a plant source, from a natural source, not from a synthetic source. So that was always very important to me. And then learning more and more about how the body worked, I really wanted to go back to school and study even more and understand more about the workings of every system. and it's all interconnected. So you can separate them to talk about them, but you really can't influence one without influencing all. So it's very important to me, and I went back to chiropractic school to study as much as I could. They do a lot with, of course, studying all the anatomy and all that, which we expect, but also the physiology. And we did a lot with neuro, and we did a lot with biochemistry, which all was very important, and it helped me and organic chemistries, and it helped me understand even more why I was thinking the way I did, and that was really the right way to think. So everything that I use is from a plant source. I do not use inorganic minerals. They come from a plant source because that's the way we're supposed to absorb them the best. So if I'm looking to influence an organ system, it's better for me, from my standpoint, to see everything from a plant source. So one of the biggest things I've watched over the past 30 years is the increase in diabetes. And not only just with adults, but now we are seeing so many children in the reports after reports after reports that many of the type 2 diabetes is starting now at ages 8 and 9. Now, we always knew of the viral component that created type 1 diabetes in children, but that was more rare. Now it's not so rare, and we're seeing all kinds of problems. And we can just look at every magazine out there and find out that we have problems with gluten intolerance, that carbohydrates are not the way to go, and we have a problem with sugar, and we're doing a lot of diet things or diet programs everywhere. And we know if we get tied into some of those where you restrict your calorie intake so low, or you restrict some of the food groups that we really require for health, that you get yourself in a different situation health-wise. So it was important to me looking at everything to address the issue of diabetes, but to address it from a standpoint where the person didn't get stuck in something that would put them in that yo-yo pattern. And many of us have either experienced it or watched friends and family go through diets where they restrict their calorie intake so low, and they lose the weight. And they look good and they feel good for a while, and then as soon as they, quote, go off their diet or began to eat more of what they used to eat, it jumps right back on, usually in a faster time than it took to lose it, and then usually you add a few more pounds in. And there are reasons for that, and those reasons, a lot of them include, if you're restricting calorie intake, your body's metabolism responds to a point where it feels like you are starving yourself, so there's a famine. So it goes into a mode that makes everything that you eat store as fat to prepare for the next famine. So when you start eating again and you get the more calories, the body automatically begins to send everything into fat instead of burning it for energy. So that's why we gain it more quickly. So we had to look at something that controlled the diabetes, which is a major problem, is a natural product, so it doesn't trick the body or in any way look at it as being a toxic entity, so that the body, because then that's another thing that the body does with toxins. It creates fat cells to store them in to protect you from any outside toxicities. So we have more fat cells also if we're very toxic. So we want to avoid anything that has a toxicity that would be from a synthetic source. So we wanted to stay away from all that, and we wanted to do only the things that helped the body recognize and control the absorption of carbohydrates, slow down that rate so that it's not quickly shot into the bloodstream and triggers that insulin response. And so this product is designed to facilitate weight loss by controlling the way the pancreas releases that insulin into the bloodstream. Now, that doesn't mean you still don't make good decisions about your food. Definitely do. And we definitely have too many of the simple carbohydrates, not just regular, carbohydrates that are grown naturally, but we have too many simple carbohydrates in our diet. So that one, we still want to make good decisions. But in saying that, if you are controlling the way the body responds when you eat food, and you are controlling that insulin response, because when the insulin is released in the bloodstream, it sends a signal to immediately produce fat. So I think a lot of us don't really realize how that works. But insulin in the bloodstreams means we don't burn our food as energy. We store it as fat. So we want to control that insulin response. So I think there are probably many people that were wondering, well, how do we address children? Because, children, we don't always control what they eat. They're not always with us. And, a lot of those things are, they get into that problem because, they taste good. Unfortunately, all the things that, taste really great are usually the things that are worse for us. And children have, a lot of things to keep them entertained with other children, and they're exposed to parties and all kinds of things at school and everywhere else. So we want to make sure we can help those children. So this particular product not only does all the things I mentioned before, but it also reduces the cravings for sugar. So you're less likely to be, rushing right out and eating those things, and that's one thing that we have seen tremendous results with. And one of the first things that people will tell me when I start my patients on this particular supplement, because I start them on this particular supplement very easily, and it's really easy to do. You just take it 30 minutes before you eat. It's one little capsule, so it's not a whole lot of pills that you have to swallow. And you eat less. You facilitate your digestion better. You don't have an insulin response like you did before. It slows down the absorption of carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates. And so you can use it with children. You can use it with elderly. You can use it with people who are already being treated for diabetes because it's all natural. It doesn't have things in it that would normally be a concern for counteracting something. And people who are using insulin now will look at many of well, we'll talk about that. I'm sure if somebody will have some questions. A couple of other things I wanted to cover, just so you know a little bit about some of the ingredients and why we use them, and then I will open it up to questions because I'm sure we'll have some specific ones that I can address. But let's, anytime you're taking steroids or even HIV, those are other diabetes risks and can be another cause of diabetes. So there are many reasons why diabetes exists besides just our overconsumption of sugars. But we're looking at the ingredients that we have in this one also rejuvenate the beta cells. So even the people that have diabetes as a result of a viral attack on the beta cells can rejuvenate those beta cells. And I knew that they could do it before, but this one is antimicrobial and rejuvenates beta cells. So, how great is that if we can take a type 1 diabetic patient and actually give them hope and let them see results that they could maybe even reduce their insulin levels that they think they're going to have to be on for the rest of their lives. At least maybe not have to keep adding more insulin, because that's a lot of the cycle that they find themselves in, that they're having to add more and more insulin types of products to try to control diabetes that started maybe decades before and gets more complex as they get older. So that is, and it also keeps platelets from sticking. So we're looking at, a stroke type of prevention, heart attack type of prevention, because we all know that when the blood gets sticky and clumps together, it does not go through the arteries as well. It doesn't let the heart function as easily as it would. So that is an important part. There are the chromium. You probably heard of chromium before, which is the chromium GTF, which is in it, is for glucose tolerance factor. So it allows the body to tolerate the glucose better and absorb it at a slower rate. There are just so many different ones that are combined together that produce a synergism, which is not seen in too many products, because you're going to feel better, have less cravings, you're not going to eat as much food, and you're going to start losing inches and pounds, which sometimes you get one before the other. But with this product, you seem to get them pretty much simultaneously. You can measure it week by week. And so it's safe for just about everybody. You can't say everybody's 100% because somebody might be allergic to something. But there are very few things in this product that have many allergies that people have responded to. So it's just been great. I've seen really quick weight loss, which is very encouraging, because many times we feel like, things don't happen fast enough and you get discouraged. But when you're not having cravings and you're losing weight and you're losing inches, I mean, how much more exciting can it get? And you can help your children, your elderly parents, your friends, husband, wife. All of you can do it together. It's really simple. And change your life and change your diet and change your health for the long run.
You know, Dr. Kraft and I've listening to the details, and for years, we've understood and we've read in the research concerning chromium and vanadium, and those minerals have always been touted as two minerals necessary to prevent the onset of adult diabetes and sugar problems and challenges. And so what's happening here in our society right now is so many of those complex, carbohydrates and processed foods and junk food and all the corn. Corn is everywhere. Corn chips, corn, everything. So people are actually becoming physically, almost chemically addicted to these items. And so whenever we start reducing those items and say, okay, we now want to go on this diet or we want to watch what we're eating, and as soon as we cut back, then all of a sudden our levels, our sugar levels drop, we get weak, we start getting maybe shaky, and so we start even more so diving into those bags. And I've noticed this formula for me, and I've already heard the stories from several others, that control and that sugar level just stays, level for me. I don't have that drop in energy. I don't have that drop in depression, in my mind, because I can't dig my hands in something that I shouldn't be eating. But, that stays level, and it gives me the ability. It actually puts willpower back in my court, to where it's like, I just don't have to have that. I have no desire for those things. So that's phenomenal, and we're not overstimulating with this as well. So just like you said, we're going to be able to share this with anybody and everyone that we come in contact with. Phenomenal.
And not only that, but you can do it with such confidence that it's going to improve their health in many other ways besides that. And you're right with the insulin response, because we get the afternoon slumps, right, and then our willpower gets weak because our blood sugar falls. Well, when you keep the blood sugar levels from crashing and elevating, like the big spikes in the crash and the spikes in the crash, you don't have that anymore. So you're not, suffering from those afternoon slumps, and it's wonderful to see everything.
You've had some of your clients. I mean, like you said, you've been sharing this, and so some of the, respectfully, we know someone common. How much has she lost now being on this formula?
Oh gosh! In the first 28 days, she had lost 15 pounds and 7 3/4 inches. And now she's up to, I think she's lost that much just in her waist now. And that's pretty exciting.
Yes, it is.
And that's just
safe,
a short time.
And it's safe loss. It's a safe loss, and it's maintaining the health of the body while we're able to do it. That's
right, and one of her biggest comments was how great she felt and how much energy she has. And there's nothing in here that's an energy product, per se.
Right, exactly. So really, the way I use the product, whenever I was down there with you and I was able to bring some home, but I try to always plan an hour, give it plenty of, you said a half an hour, but when it hit about 45 minutes or so, I knew, it just calmed my stomach down, those pangs in my gut, and it just leveled off my attitude toward eating. And then when I would sit down to eat something, it was usually half a portion maybe. I just could not go any further. I just felt so satisfied early. So the automatic calorie reduction, was just amazing to me. I was able to control that. My calories went down, though. So therefore, I was able to burn more than I was taking in. So the inch loss is kind of by osmosis. It's going to come off.
Right. It's going to come off. And what was really interesting, I was talking about the yo-yo, where people, get off their program and then it just piles right back on. And that's one of the dreaded things that, when people are dieting, they just hope they don't gain it back. And we see it so much. But with this, it's amazing. It's like you never gain the weight back.
Exactly.
And you can keep taking it for as long as you want because there aren't any harmful ingredients in it.
Right. Wow. So I'm trying to think of anything maybe somebody would ask, other than maybe what are the other maybe a handful of ingredients that really make the magic of this product work. Do you have them there We could share a little bit about those and how they work.
Yes, absolutely. There's some of them you probably haven't heard. Goat's rue. Now, that's pretty interesting. It's also known as French lilac. It actually is part of the honeysuckle family. And that one is the one that helps to rejuvenate the beta cells of the pancreas. And that's also the same one that reduces the clumping of the platelets for the cardiovascular system, which is really awesome. I mean, we're always living in fear of, heart attack and strokes. Well, what if we could keep our blood so that it was not sticky anymore? And just by doing the same thing we're doing to control our blood sugar, it's pretty awesome. It's also, that one is also antimicrobial. So that's why it helps to rejuvenate those beta cells in case there's anything else that might be within that pancreas that's causing the problem with them. So that one's an awesome one that we don't really hear much about. Then we've got wild-crafted cinnamon bark. Now, we've all heard that, cinnamon helps the body to control blood sugar levels. And so that's a basic one, and you can find that in just about any journal. We'll talk about cinnamon and its effectiveness for diabetes and controlling the blood sugar levels. So that one's an awesome one that should be a standard in any product that would have that. So of course, it has the chromium and the vanadium, which you can find in the Diabetic Journal, and those are listed both separately. Putting them in the product together, again, creates that synergism. The slowing of the digestion and the slowing of the absorption of the carbohydrates is due to the fenugreek seed, which a lot of us have used fenugreek for stomach issues before as a tea and things, but it's also good for digestion and the absorption of carbohydrates, which we want to slow that down. Trouble with eating carbohydrates is they are rapidly burned, and so they get into the digestive system really quick and trigger the insulin response more quickly, where a lot of times if we're mixing things with a protein, we can somewhat slow that down by what we choose to combine, but that's you don't have to worry about that when you're taking this one before you eat. And many times, with the chromium, I should mention this one because I found this one to be fascinating when I was first looking at it. And in the Diabetes Journal, they were talking about some studies that they were doing with the lab animals in diabetes and seeing what created diabetics. And they found that in the animal studies, that all the animals that had low chromium levels developed diabetes. If they had normal chromium levels, they did not.
Mm-hmm.
So very important to make sure that we have the chromium in there. So I thought that was very interesting.
It does make a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well, you know, that one thing about this too, I mean, and you can maybe comment on the fact that these ingredients are all wild-crafted, organic.
Yes. Absolutely.
And so with the wild-crafted part, can you describe, I know a lot of people are wondering, well, what's the difference between, wild-crafted and not wild-crafted?
And that's interesting because I used to teach a class where we would go out and we would find wild-crafted herbs in the area. Wild-crafted is, nature grew it. You got to go find where it is. You've got to harvest it. When you're wild-crafting it, you're not overusing the soil. You're not adding fertilizers. It is being grown in its natural habitat where it is the most adaptable. And it's usually much stronger, much more virile, an herb in the wild-crafted form that it is in the farmed soils. They can test them, and they're usually a lot stronger. That's why we have a lot of people who would go and wild harvest the ginseng, and it would be very expensive. They'd have to go up usually mountains, and actually my grandfather used to do that, and would dig for the wild ginseng because of its potency. But the wild-crafted herbs are always much stronger, and of course you don't have any reason to believe there's any pesticides or anything like that involved in it.
Well, that's nice.
So, yes.
Well, I believe that the label does say on the Sugar D formula 1 to 6 capsules per day. I mean, talk about the levels and safety, and what do you think the recommended amount is, and where should they know to take more if they need to?
Yes, and that's a good question. I recommend that people start with 3 a day, just one about 30 minutes before you eat each meal, and that usually is fine. I have not had anyone reach plateaus with it, but there's always the first time. And so I leave the up to 6. So if you do hit a plateau, go ahead and up it. It'll be safe to do it. There's no reason not to, no contraindications as to why you would or would not. So you just go ahead and do that, and that would make sure that you're able to reach the next level. I have yet to have it happen, but that I have that formula in my mind for that purpose.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. Now, I guess one question I had at one point was there was an individual I knew that needed to lose about 150 pounds, so they had a little bit of overage. And so would the amount of capsules, would that have anything to do with the weight of the person?
They could, if you were, had a lot to lose, then you have a larger system. So I might even start then. If you have a lot to lose, I would just start with 2 for a while. Maybe
load up on that and see.
Yes, maybe for the first 30 days and see.
Excellent. And really, overall, I mean, we really like to say with just the results that we're seeing, with the we're going to have one of the ladies next Tuesday, so be sure to bring everybody back Tuesday to hear this lady's story. She started taking the product, and she just started shrinking. Week by week by week, she was gauging, she was measuring. She's like, I definitely wanted to start off measuring, so I knew exactly what was happening. Within a couple of weeks, she was calling me saying, this formula is working like a product I lost 75 pounds on, So, and I think it was 75, and if not, it was 50. So she lost 50 pounds on a similar feeling she was having, total control. She was going on road trips, and I'm going to let her tell her story Tuesday, but she had no cravings and no energy loss. So we want everybody, all of the members, to have this power, to have the ability to come back into your life again, to where you are in control again, and this product is going to be invaluable. I mean invaluable to all of us. It's going to really just, skyrocket the Free Mart business for everybody, and it's only the beginning of where we're going. So would you like to add anything else, Dr. Crafton?
I think there are very few products that you get so excited about because you see the potential. I mean, if you look at obesity in our country, it's gotten to an epidemic proportion, and nobody wants to be there. We just find ourselves there. And it's just so exciting that you can change people's lives with such a healthful supplement that actually makes them feel good and accomplishes their goals, and they come out better for it. I mean, health-wise, at the end of it, not just from the diabetes, but from the everything that they're doing with their energy levels and their attitudes and their so they just feel better overall. Great feeling of well-being from this product.
It definitely does that. Go ahead, John.
What I really like about this product, Dr. Crafton, is how your approach to creating it dovetails with the Free Mart mission, and that's to bring products that address the overall health of the body as opposed to addressing symptoms. I have no doubt that our Free Mart members are going to be more than pleased with the results they're going to experience by using this product. And when it comes to losing pounds and inches, of course, they're going to get excited about sharing that with their friends. I think we're literally going to see this product fly off the shelf.
I think you're right there. We can't, when I was using it with my patients, I mean, they would want to tell people who weren't even my patients and come in and ask about that product. So, I mean, news travels fast. When something works, word of mouth is the best advertisement.
Indeed.
And, that was one thing that I was really impressed when I met both John and Brad is that how our philosophy is so meshed. And here we are from, we've never met one another. We're from different parts of the country, and it was just amazing to me. But, there is a like-mindedness that kind of permeates certain thinking people around the world, and it's just awesome how many situations will bring those people together.
Absolutely. Birds of a feather?
Yes. Yeah.
And so we're very grateful for you, and you're on our team, and you're in our court, and you're here to help people and educate people if they have questions. We've got these calls recorded like this so people can kind of refer back. And I believe this call here, John, is what, number 340? Does that sound right to you?
Let me check for sure. I think that is.
Okay. I think it's 340, and so people can reference back on this call and learn from it and how the product works, and we can actually, yeah.
It's going to be 341.
Oh, 341. Okay, and so 341 it is, folks, and we can actually, for some of you, can get an email. We can give you the link to this recording as well if you wanted to email that out. So we can do that from here to help you in that way as well. But we're definitely going to have maybe initial rush on this product, and as the results start happening in 2 to 5 pounds, 2 to 8 pounds are leaving people's body in inches, or they're just shrinking the belly fat and the side fat and all the unwanted fat. And when that all starts happening, then we're really going to have a real cat by the tail trying to keep up with the volume going out the door. So be sure to get your product as soon as we introduce it and make it available on the website. Be sure to get your order in as soon as possible. Get on the product. Start becoming a product of the product. And everybody around you will begin to ask you, man, what are you doing? What in the world? How do I get my hands on this? And, there's a lot of people I talk to regularly, as you all know, and all of you, all the ones I'm talking to, can't wait to get your hands on this. So we're definitely going to have a fun time keeping up with this one, I got a feeling. So be sure to get your order as soon as possible. And I think right now, John, we'll go ahead and end the call. And we have a great load of people on here, and we appreciate all of you for being here and taking time out. There's a very important call, very fortuitous moment with this product and Dr. Crafton here this evening, and we're going to have more people to come and more testimonials coming next week as well. John, are you going to be back here tomorrow night?
Tomorrow's Friday, right? Yep.
Yes.
We'll be here tomorrow. So
okay, well, yep, go ahead.
What I need, Brad, from you and Dr. Crafton, if you have it, is some information that we can put up on the website about our new Sugar D product. So
you bet. Yep, we'll take care of that. You betcha. Well, yep, that's it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much, and we hope that this was as inspiring to you as it is to us, and we're so grateful to get the opportunity to share it with each and every one of you. And you're going to be able to give this product and share it with anybody and everybody, and just enjoy building your business, and your marketing efforts are definitely going to be well rewarded, and it just pushes you toward that profit share income that we all are enjoying at some level, but it's going to take you to the next level. So just believe it and you claim that, and we want you to enjoy this product as soon as it comes out. So anyway, with all that said, we thank you all once again, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. We'll have a product call tomorrow evening, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you all for being here. Have a great Free Mart evening.
Good night, everybody, and thank you, Dr. Crafton.
Good night. Thank you.